Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mind Rehab, where we take negative thoughts, actions, and emotions and replace them with thoughts, actions, and emotions that are positive and true. I am Nikki Willis, and
I'm Jamin Willis.
Today we are going to talk about what have you never done or never even tried, right? So, babe, you want to take it away?
Yep. So today I want to talk about what you have never done or even tried to do. So today is basically about if you're unhappy or if you're thinking about making a change, and you're trying to determine like what the problem is, how to identify the problem, or how to identify what you want to do or what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing to stop and ask yourself, what have I never done or even tried to do? So, as always with my rehab, I give an example with home renovation and renovating a home. So, like if you had a house and you had outgrown that house, let's say it was too small for you.
Right.
Instead of saying, "Oh, I've outgrown this house. I need to sell this house and buy a bigger one," maybe something that you've never done or even tried to do was maybe I can add a room. Maybe I
Right.
can do a room addition. So
Right.
just the same thing with like home improvements or remodeling your home. It may be something that you can do that you haven't done or even tried to do that would
Right.
be a solution to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So when you carry that over to your personal life, there's things that you may be able to do
Yep.
that you haven't done or even have tried to do that may be a solution to the challenges or the problems that you're facing in your life at this particular time.
Okay.
So, to give an example, one of the things that I never did or even tried to do was relocating.
Yeah.
You know, when we were
That was
living
big.
back in Cincinnati, I was just unhappy. You know,
Yeah.
I tried to make the best of living in Cincinnati by doing what I wanted to do as far as like investing and having my investment company and still blogging here and there. But I had never tried to relocate,
Very true.
and I definitely had never done it. You know, we
Yeah.
had lived in Cincinnati our whole entire lives.
Right.
Um, and so we identified that we needed to make a change. And, you know, even though we're here, technically you can say that we're trying relocate them, even though we've already did it. But if you don't take action, like, you know, it's becoming one of our um, favorite quotes is you miss 100% of the shots
You
that you
don't
don't
take.
take.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we can complain about what we don't have or how unhappy we are,
So true.
and we're not doing what we really want to do or what we're passionate about. Have you taken a shot?
Very true.
You know,
But I
um,
think, I think that's all good. But like, what about the people that are out there that are saying, well, you know, making change? Because I mean, let's be real. Most humans are risk averse. Like
mhm,
most, and I don't want to like generalize it, but like,
mhm,
change is hard
mhm.
for people.
It can be.
Yeah, it can be hard. We'll say that. But I mean, there are aspects of it that um, make people fearful, and hence the reason why they don't change. Hence the reason why they don't relocate. And so, um, I don't know. I think it's maybe good to maybe acknowledge like some of the things that you go through and kind of some of the steps that you go through when you're thinking about something that you've never tried before or something that you've never done before. Like that, when you're looking at something that you've never done before, it's, normally like you're trailblazing this. Maybe you haven't even seen a family member do it. Someone out there might want to go to college and they might be the first generation to go to college
Mm-hmm.
or to even want to go to college. We relocated. My mom relocated.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and sister-in-law relocated. Um, but essentially, like, nobody moved clear across the country like we did.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, we were kind of trailblazing that. Like, I mean, totally different time zone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that whole fear of like the what ifs and the failures. How do you get past that?
Yeah, that's a good question to ask. So if you haven't done something or you haven't done it, the second question you can ask yourself is why? That's a very good question. If you look at why you haven't done something,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, the process of um, rehabbing a house, that house could have been needed to be remodeled or renovated for years, but the person hasn't done it or they haven't gotten around to it. I think a lot of times it's like we have a pattern of thinking and we've believed something to be true only because of we've done something for a long time.
Okay.
Just because you've done something for a long time don't mean that you're doing something at the right time.
Okay.
So your season of doing something may have changed, but also your um, reason of doing something, may have changed. So when you
Hmm.
talk about um, you get to a point, for me, you get to a point in your life where it's like you look up and it's another New Year's. It's
Okay.
another New Year's resolution list of things that weren't scratched off,
Right.
that weren't accomplished, and you drill down to what have I not even tried to do yet?
Mm-hmm.
And then how many days do you wake up? How many weeks and months go by with you still feeling like you aren't fulfilling your purpose? With you still feeling like you aren't fulfilled and just waking up generally just like unhappy, unmotivated. I think sometimes you have to ask yourself like what's it going to take for me to break out of this cycle? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think about so I grew up in a religious background, right? So I think about how I grew up where, you know, a lot of times like people wouldn't do something courageous or outrageous because they would say something like, well, you know, um, I'm just gonna pray about it, or
Mhm.
well, if the Lord says the same, or they just kind of, well, I'm just waiting on the Lord to tell me, you know, what about those people? Like, what about those people that maybe they feel, man, there's something bigger for me, there's something greater for me, but then they go back to, well, I'm gonna just wait on the Lord, or I'm gonna pray about it, or I'm gonna see if God opens up a door or something like that. What do you say to those people?
Like they say Nike, just do it. No, but um, that's a good thing, and that's why that's what the mind rehab process is for. Is because you have to basically retrain your thinking, and before you add something new, you have to take away those old thoughts, and you have to get to the source of how you think. Is it
Mm-hmm.
because how you grew up, what family you grew up, or what church you grew up in? And sometimes you have to get to the point where um, you have to think and make decisions for yourself, but you have to think like you can you can pray and you can ask God to do something, but it gets to a point where you have to look at what God has already provided. He's already given each and every one of us, the ability to do things. You know, when even in the Bible it talks about having dominion, power, and authority, God has given us the ability to author, to write, essentially a lot of our own destinies, our own things that we want to do in our lives. You know, a lot of times we're waiting for God to answer our prayer when God has already answered our prayer.
We just need to walk in it.
We have to walk in it, and we have to use the tools and the things that He has already given us. And we have to do. You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead, and that's really true. Like, you have to get to the point where you have to make a decision, and you can't make a decision until you start thinking something different. And so it starts with the pattern of thinking, but once you get new thoughts, you have to take action based upon those new thoughts, or it's a never-ending cycle. It's just gonna keep repeating yourself, and you're still gonna be in the same place until you take action. And I think, you know, when you talk about getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, you know, that's when you'll actually to actually do something. I'm not sure if that answered your question, but
yeah, I mean, it definitely does. Like you said, Nike, just do it. Yeah. Just do it. You know, I think sometimes, you know, as you were talking, sometimes, you know, we over spiritualize things. Almost to a point to where it kind of turns into superstition, to where it's like, because, you know, in life, period, there are ups and downs, right? There are ups and downs in everything, but we like sometimes, you know, maybe we might take a step out and do something that we've never done, and, you know, for whatever reason, you know, it just doesn't go right, or something else goes wrong, or you know, it could even be like you didn't get your favorite coffee that morning. Oh my gosh, like this is totally the wrong thing. You know, I knew I wasn't supposed to take this, or you know, this must be a door that's shut, and it almost turns into a superstition because have you really given it a chance? I think too, when we're talking about something that we've never done, something that we've never tried to do, we have to also train our minds to make sure we give it a shot, like a real shot, because you know, I work with entrepreneurs and small business owners all the time, and you know, some people are kind of serial starters, you know, like they tell me, well, I started this and that didn't work. I started this and that didn't work. And I moved on to this and I moved on to that and I moved to this. And I'm going, how long did you do certain, you know, these different ventures? Oh, 3 months here, 6 months here, you know, I did it for a couple weeks. I did, you know, and in that, did they really give it their all? And, you know, like, I did a post a while back when we had first moved, and I was like, you know, talking about walking in faith versus stepping out on faith, and how you have to, like, taking that step is great. Like, yes, God wants to see that too, but this whole life is about walking in faith. It's about walking every day. Walking your life in faith, taking those steps every day, not just taking that step of faith. Because a lot of times when we take that first step, you know, things don't look like what we had imagined, and you know, something's askew here, and you know, we weren't expecting this here, and we get scared and we either stop or we revert back and we go back in the house. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we say, see, it didn't work. Oh my God, it didn't work. See, I knew I shouldn't have tried this, or I knew I shouldn't have moved here. Do you know how much stuff we've been through since we moved here?
Yeah, it's like a construction site. You know, when you have construction going on, it's dust flying everywhere. You got tape,
it doesn't look like
you got
what
plastic
you
everywhere.
plan on it to be.
It looks like a mess, and you can look at that construction site and say, "Oh my gosh, this is a mess."
It's a mess. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, this is not what I pictured.
But you have to go through the process, and
Yeah.
when you see that finished product, and when you actually follow through to the process, you get the results that you intended. And so,
Yeah.
you know, as you were talking, that was another thing that I was thinking about is, you know, a lot of times how we grew up, whether it was church or whatever, our family, it's the religion and traditions a lot of times that hold us back. And that's the definition of religion. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again. And a lot of times we talk about the effectiveness of church, like the church. A lot of times the church model is a very outdated model to where it's not as effective as it could be because it's doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then you have family traditions like, you know, my mom did it this way, her mom did it this way, her mom did it this way. But if the end result is not what that lineage did, you're doing the same pattern unless you try or do something else. And you have to stop and ask yourself, what have I not considered? What have I not tried? What have I not done yet? And what's your remix scripture, babe? Do a little bit of this and a little bit of that because you never
know which one's gonna pop off.
You know, and that was a conversation that we was having.
That's the scripture, by the way. It's just, you know, remixed a little bit. Just a little bit.
So we were talking about that today, and you know, that's what I decided to do with real estate. You know, one thing that I dibbled and dabbled a little bit before, but until we started to focus on it, I didn't try to add like what I like and I'm passionate about, like teaching, seminars, podcasts, and things like that. Add that to real estate. I didn't try to incorporate that as a marketing lane in a way to continue to do real estate and to inform and educate people.
Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, because like I said, like we said, y'all, this is happening in real life, like real time. We're bringing y'all right into our conversations. Like he just said what you just said a couple weeks ago. Like, I'm a recovering realtor. Like, and how much you didn't like it, and like we really had to talk about that because, you know, we've been working through what have we never done? What's never worked? You know what's never worked? What's the other one, babe?
What have you never tried to do?
What have you never tried to do? Okay, so we're literally working through this right now when it comes to real estate. We're looking at, okay, what are all the projects we've got going on? And like, instead of going out and kind of looking like, you know, like we're saying, you know, the serial starters and trying to go and start something else. What do we have on us that we've never put together? Because sometimes it's like you have two puzzle pieces in one in one right pocket and one puzzle piece in the left pocket, and you've never taken them out at the same time and put them together. Yeah,
it's just like all those quotes where people talk about you only using a certain percentage of your brain.
Yeah,
but
10%.
A lot of us have you have gifts, you have talents, and you have abilities. Sometimes we walking around. It's like walking around with a set of keys, but you only use like 3 of them when you have 10 of them.
Right.
And those other 7 could be the missing piece of the puzzle that's a solution to whatever you're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And so you're exactly right, and that's
we're going through this right now.
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's not always about quitting my job and starting a business, or you could have a business and you're not switching a totally different profession. You're adding something that you're good at, or adding a different ability.
A little
spin to it. So you know how many more barbers could get more business if they had a blog, or if they had a podcast, or a vlog, or doing tutorials. If you cut hair, you know, teaching 8 hours a day, and you pick one day and you do a tutorial on how
Just one specialty.
How to keep your waves going, or how to do this, you know.
The man wigs, babe.
You get the units.
Them units.
Get the units going.
Units.
You know, and sometimes it's like that. If you're a person that you comfortable on camera and things like that, that could be something that you can add that you never tried to do or never did. That could be a solution to whatever your particular situation is right now. And so, you know, that's kind of, you know, where we're at too. You have to ask yourself, what have I never done, or what have I never tried to do? And that could be real estate, that could be your career, that could be your relationship. You can apply it to basically every area of your life. If you have a problem, ask yourself, what have I never done, or what have I never tried to do? Because sometimes it's not always doing a brand new thing or coming up with a brand new thing. It's combining 2 or 3 old things, or moving things around, or adding something that you didn't consider or you had ruled out before. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, so we're going back to doing Ask Jameen's.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just putting it on the record. Y'all hear it? Y'all hearing it first.
Yeah.
We're going back to doing Ask Jameen's for real estate.
Yeah, because the thing is, you know, I love helping people. I love helping people.
One puzzle piece.
You know, accomplish the goal of home ownership.
And you've been doing real estate for?
21 years now.
Smash them together. Like, let's go. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. I mean, you never know. That's what I like that about life. Like, you know, just try. As long as you got breath in your body, you can try so many different things. So many different combinations.
Yep.
You know? That's cool, babe. I'm excited. I'm excited for you. So here's a challenge to our rehabbers, our mind rehabbers. Why don't you try something that you've never done? Maybe it's not anything even outside of yourself. Maybe it's just evaluating what you got on you. You know, what's in your left pocket? Or wait, that's my right. What's in your right pocket? What's in your left pocket? You know, what experience do you have over here? You know, what passions do you have over here? You know, what dream do you have over here? You know, what have you helped out to do over here and that you now have experience in? And putting them together. Fitting different puzzle pieces together. We want you to try that out this week. Try something. One thing that you've never done before. Just one thing.
Yep.
And we want you to tell us about it. Okay? So, babe, tell them how they can reach us, how they can tell us about it.
You can go to the website, JameenWillis.com, and leave us a comment. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, you can put it right in the comments.
Yeah, we want to see them.
Yeah, we want to see them. So we challenge you to identify and start and do something that you've never done.
Just one thing. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Because we want you to win here. Like, we don't want you, you know, now is not the time to climb Mount Everest this week, okay? Too big. Shrink it down. Something really small and something attainable that you can do this week that you've never tried before. Maybe you've never cooked something before. Do it.
Yeah. Or it could be
boil that rice.
Taking a class, you know.
Take a class.
Become a professional photographer overnight. Take a class on photography first.
Or just go out and take your phone and go out and shoot something. Anything, right? Like, make it simple. Make it attainable so that you can celebrate it and so that we can celebrate it with you. Okay? So, babe, talk about the Patreon.
The Patreon. So, we thank all of our supporters that support us, everybody that's following the podcast, everybody that tracks along with the video podcast. And so we're inviting you to join the Mind Rehab community via Patreon.
Yes.
So for just $10 a month on the Patreon, you get private access to the Mind Rehab community, the chats, the comments, the forum. You have access to the weekly calls and the live video sessions. So that's going to be every week. So that's great. That's a sense of community um, where you can basically have like mini coaching, every week for things that go on. Also, you have exclusive content if you're checking out the YouTube video podcast. That's going away. That's going to be Patreon only. So join the Patreon to keep taking advantage of the video podcast. Also, you'll have access to the Rehabbers Toolbox, and that's digital downloads. That's worksheets. That's assessments that you can use in the process of rehabbing your minds and helping you determine what you really want and things like that. So to join the Mind Rehab community, just go to JameenWillis.com, click on Patreon, and become a part of the Mind Rehab community.
All right. That was a good one. This one was fun. All right. So don't forget your challenge. Do one thing this week. Just one. Something that you've never done before. And we want to hear about it. So make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell us how we're doing. We want 5 stars if you're giving us a rating and a review. All right, guys. Have a great week. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
See you next week.